Welcome back and hello if you are new. So thank you so much for tuning in this week. Following their ambitious Machine Messiah in 2017, which is fair to say had a very kind of progressive nature and was quite exploratory, Sepultura have embraced this exploratory nature to deliver an album which could well be their most experimental and progressive to date in Quadra. Inspired by the use of 4, Sepultura decided to kind of go slightly different with the idea for a concept this time. And the first section of the record is essentially quite rooted in thrash metal and very much Beneath the Remains Arise era Sepultura sound. On the second side, we then move into a more percussive area where the band really do embrace their roots. Now, side 3 I think is the most interesting on Quadra, as it really embraces the idea of what Sepultura can be in 2020, and definitely looks at the qualities of progressive, songwriting, experimentation with different ideas, neatly tied up together in the ending on section 4, which is essentially the most cinematic offering from Sepultura. One of the things I've always enjoyed about Green's delivery and his performance is that he really keeps that sense of the primal with Sepultura. And now it's important to kind of note that, because particularly on Quadra there's a lot of different adventurous musicianship that's going on with the drums, bass and the guitars. However, it's anchored by that sort of raw anger and real power of Derek Green's vocals. But yet even he experiments with his vocals, particularly on Agony of Defeat, which sees a clean style of singing kind of come through, but doesn't lose that kind of gruffness that Green has, that I've always really enjoyed. I won't let go. Now, in a band that are so heavily reliant on rhythm, drums are of course incredibly important. There are so many little niche jazz drum fills, but then he's able to kind of bring that rhythmic battery that Sepultura are known for right back. His drumming allows for dexterity when it's needed, but then really locks in that Sepultura power. And similarly on this track, Paulo Zisto Pinto Jr., who is the bassist in the band, really kind of delivers that rumble. The great thing about him as a bass player is that he's, just as kind of happy in the lower tone rumblings, but then can also kind of bring a bit of a Steve DiGiorgio kind of sound and have almost like a wandering jazz line at times. Not necessarily very frequently, but at times on this record for sure. Andreas Kisser, though, I have to say, really should be praised for his really innovative performance on this album. For example, in the track Last Time, it goes from these, battering ram riffs into a almost cynic style section, which is something I never thought I would kind of put in the same bracket as Sepultura. Technicality is definitely one of the most important points I think on this album, and it really is pushed to the brink, particularly on Guardians of Earth and the instrumental The Pentagram. But there are so many different elements at play that kind of like, when you're listening to it, it takes a couple of listens to really understand what's going on. And I think it's really interesting that they're implementing different ideas, such as the kind of black metal, almost Opeth sound, which is midway through Guardians of Earth. But then straight after that black metal Opeth section, we're then moved into this almost neoclassical suite, which I thought was really interesting. And the Pentagram and Autumn are definitely two tracks which stand out, in part due to the instrumental capability on the Pentagram, which I think is a really interesting track. But then it also shows the unorthodox nature of some of the instruments that Sepultura have used, which sounds almost like a bouzouki that's kind of trading off with the guitar, which I thought was really, really cool. Quadra is, I personally think, Sepultura's most cinematic effort that we've seen in recent years. And it's mainly down to these small additions of choir, there's symphonic elements, there's violins, you know, it really kind of builds a story around the album. Electronic elements have also been added on Capital Enslavement and Isolation, and as well as the end of Ali. And it does kind of create a narrative, which is a good sort of thread that you can have in this labyrinth of technicality, which can at times become a little overbearing. And that's probably the only criticism I would give Quadra, is that, you know, if you're a fan who wants something kind of fairly simple, then you're definitely not going to get that on Quadra. For me, I personally really enjoyed it. I thought it was great to see all of this experimentation going on. But if you're not kind of in that mindset, then just be prepared. As Monty Python quite rightly said, nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. And nobody expects Quadra, trust me. This is an album which is chock full of surprises, adaptable, and fearlessly creative. If you think you know Sepultura, think again. So, thank you so much for watching this album review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like and subscribe button. Be sure to check out all my other album reviews and interviews. Got some real cool stuff coming up. And drop a comment below and we can have a chat. Alright, well I will see you guys next week for another album review. Take care and have a wicked weekend.